Let me see. Are we? Yeah, there we go. We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to OreAni. This is the end of the 2025 winter season lineup. With us, we have Jessica,
Hello.
Albert,
こんにちは。
and the dragon.
Hello, hello.
And of course, I hope you all know me, Tenkun. And we're going to be talking about the end of the season, as it's a lot of the shows are already done. I think there's just a few with one more episode left or so, but we're close enough, so we're going to talk about it now. We're going to start with Akuyaku Reijo Tensei Oji-san, also known as From Bureaucrat to Villainess, Dad's Being Reincarnated, which is streaming on High Dive. Now, for myself, I think as a villainous type story, it's actually pretty low on my list. It was pretty good and
Really?
decent. Yeah, but I don't know. Just something about it didn't click with me. It was funny, but I just couldn't enjoy it as much as I did some of the other shows, I guess.
Well, for me, I really enjoyed it. I was reading the manga, which it is based off of, not a light novel. And it introduces some usual, it's starting to become some tropes, I think. So they try to vary it up, right? So there's the gender bend, where the dad is being reincarnated into a villainess. So that's been done before. I think the unique thing about this is that there's still his daughter and wife in the real world. He's not actually, well, a little spoiler, but he's actually not dead. He's in a coma, right? And his wife and daughter can also interact, kind of watch his progress, and as it unfolds in the game world. So when they first introduced that concept in the middle of the season, it was a lot of, well, here's what's happening to in the game world. Oh, and then here's the exact same thing happening in the real world as they watch or discuss. And so I was a little concerned after watching that episode that they would keep doing that, and that would really slow down the pace. But fortunately, they did not do that. They did the right thing, where the wife and daughter is basically the peanut gallery, making comments on everything ridiculous dad ends up doing. So I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the two voice actors portraying the same person. The supporting cast and the kind of situation tends to be generic, so I think that's on purpose with all the princes. But they're all, the heroine, the princess, all the love interests. They all become more enamored with the villainess. So that's also pretty typical with the villainess, where the villainess turns out to be a good person scenario, right? Yeah, so I think I mentioned this in our Discord that they covered up to basically volume 4 of the manga. There are 8 volumes of the manga out currently, but it obviously has not concluded. I'm not exactly sure how popular it is in Japan, but I think it was fairly popular here despite being on High Dive. So hopefully there will be a season 2 to kind of continue the story. I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
So the only other thing I could say about it, which I did enjoy, was the information about the father that we did learn. Because you would think he's just this normal old bureaucrat, this old guy that has a family, does typical old man things. But then you find out that he is basically an otaku. And I'll admit that part I loved. It was just hilarious seeing all of the things that he's done and how he's also applied his otaku-ness to his life lessons. So, like, I think even he mentioned like getting ready for the play, and he kind of compared it to getting ready to make a comic, right, for a comic or something like that. So, it was really fun finding more information about that and just having fun moments like that. But as far as the whole story, to me, I don't know. I just, like I said, I just couldn't get into it. But it's not to say that it was bad. It's just that if I had the choice to watch this on my own, I probably wouldn't. And the ending song is really weird too, for me for some reason. But it seems no one else has watched this, so we'll move on to the next title.
Can I say something?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the like funny humor, especially like him like using his own like personal experience of like like being a father, and that's how he gains like builds his connection and like changes the the whole storyline of what the game is supposed to be. Like like he's supposed to be the villainess, but then like because of his experience as being like a parent, like it kind of like changes the story, and that's how he builds all those like relationships and like makes sure everyone is like I like how everyone is basically falling in love with the villainous character instead. So I don't know. For me, I personally really enjoyed it in that aspect of like them using instead of like it's a person playing the game and trying to like change it because they know what event is going. They're just he's just using his own experience of his daily life to change the game, and I thought that was pretty funny, especially with him like doting on all the characters and whatnot.
All right. Thank you. Next up is a title. It looks like it's not done yet, but we'll talk about it now because it's pretty much was done when it first came out because it was just so bad. It's Afro Otoko no Isekai Tsuhan Seikatsu, or the daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world. I believe Albert mentioned that he's read this manga. I've read the manga as well, back in the day. And as far as a manga, it was pretty enjoyable and really fun. But as an anime, it has so many issues with it as far as animation that it just destroys everything. And I just kind of continue watching it just to see how much they'll mess up and to find all their little errors that they'll make. I think there was a scene where they showed a maid in her outfit wearing an apron, and then in the next scene she was in a carriage and her whole dress was white instead of being black with the white apron. So they had a lot of just glaring issues. Also with size comparisons where you'll see the just things didn't match up to the size of what was also around them. It was just so bad. It was just so crazy. And maybe later I'll take some pictures and post them in our Discord to share with y'all to see how bad some of this stuff can get. But it was just crazy that I have no other words for it. But it seems that it's gonna try to. I don't know how it's gonna cover the rest of the story because they're just barely getting notifications about having to go meet the royalty. And Albert, if you know that, there's not much left after that story, right? So.
I think I only read the first volume of the manga and quickly realized it's very suboptimal. So I don't see that the world building was actually very well done. I don't think the whole thing, if you want to watch a good version of this, just go watch Campfire Cooking in Another World, with Mukoda and the Femoral and Sue the slime. That is far far better and far better animated. So this is just not even second rate. It's like a third rate version of that.
Yes, but there are some things that I found interesting, which I noticed while I was watching. It's if you watch the opening, at the very end of the opening, they'll show like a scene with all the characters, and every single episode that scene changes depending on who's going to be in that episode. So you can kind of get a sneak peek of who's all going to be showing up. But other than that, yeah, terrible. Oh, I forgot to change the sign title thingy here, but oh well. Jess, did you want to talk about Big Bang, or?
You mean Bong Dream Ave Mujika?
Oh, Bong Dream.
That one?
I don't know why I say Big Bang. I don't know why I
Big
say.
Bang makes more sense, honestly. Yeah, I'll bring it up. It's pretty unusual. I think it's one of the better 3D CG anime out there because, like Land of the Lustrous, they know when to use 2D animation versus 3D. So for a lot of the close-ups on the faces, they're traditionally animated. If there's a really emotional scene, those are typically traditionally animated as well. And the way that the characters move around, the models and stuff looks really good, very natural. Unlike a lot of stuff from Polygon Pictures, which just looks stiff and awkward. This, if you're gonna do 3D animation, this is the way to do it. I will always prefer 2D though. In terms of the story, it's very melodramatic and over the top, but they do a lot of creative stuff visually to show one of the girls and her psychological issues, where she has another self inside her head, and so she'll have conversations with this other self, and they use TV monitors as kind of symbolizing the noise that she's constantly surrounded by. So it's not just like a cookie cutter cash grab of an anime. There was actually some thought put into it, which I really like. And I believe there's going to be a second season on this. I wouldn't say go out of your way to watch it because it's just kind of out there. However, I wouldn't also just say don't watch it. If you like girls that need a lot of help with their psychological issues, this might be the show for you.
Yeah, season 2 was confirmed.
Ah, okay, cool.
So is this still an idol anime you're saying, or?
I mean, it's more about a band than an idol group, I would say.
Okay, so it's a band. Okay.
Yeah, more of a band anime. There are 4 members in the band. You've got your bassist, guitarist, keyboardist, and singer, I think. It's funny because despite it being about a band, there's very little music involved. Because basically, shit goes down in episode 2, and then it's them trying to pick up the pieces of their lives and get the band back together.
I see. So is the music good? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, I like it. It's, kind of twee, over the top in its angst, but that is my jam, and I had a good time.
All right. Thank you. Hey, Vinny. Welcome to
Vinny
the
is here.
group.
Vinny.
Hi, Vinny.
Is Vinny able to talk? I can't tell.
Hello.
Hey. Hey, Vinny, I'm going
Not
to
sure
go.
what I missed.
We just talked about the Oji-san villainess anime
Oh, okay.
and the middle-aged man in Another World. So, basically. But I will go back to talk about this title with you because I was kind of curious about this. I only saw episode 1 or 2, but it seemed really interesting. The Ameku Takao no Suri Karate or Karate, the Doctor Detective.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
It's okay. If anybody who watched enough of those medical series, either Bones or House MD, what have you, this probably will not interest you much since medical mysteries are pretty pediatric in terms of difficulty. It's quite easy to figure out. All but one cases, I realized that at the very beginning as to what diagnosis she's gonna give to. Having said that, there hasn't been too many of those type of series, so if you're starving for one, you could probably watch it. Only problem is that the main character is so unlikable. She has the worst quality of a people who seem to project the autism spectrum. So it's so even if the character is supposed to be a lewd genius type, then the case should be a lot more difficult to figure out, but it's not. So kind of left pretty disappointed in that regard.
I see. And you were talking about Bones, like the actual TV series, right? Out there on
Yeah,
US network.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a series a few seasons ago, the anime that's about beautiful bones, bone collecting type. That was much better done series than this.
Hmm.
So if anybody's looking for medical series, mid-series series, I would suggest to just search through the catalogs and watch the older ones than this one.
Yeah.
Or just read a manga. There's a plenty of a manga with a medical mystery type that's out there. Like Jin or the what was it? There's a one about the OBGYN. There's a series from like 20 years ago called was it Kim Medical Dragon, I believe was it. All those series are much better series, so I just can recommend this one.
I see. This did remind me a lot of like that show you did mention, Beautiful Bones,
Hmm.
as far as its mystery goes, and it also gave me a lot of feels like what's it called, Inspector,
Inspector, yeah,
where it has a lot of mystery, but rather than being medical, it's more supernatural, right?
Supernatural, right?
Because it's all
All those
about
series,
mysteries and stuff, right?
yeah. I mean, all the series have a main character who's deeply flawed in a way. Either they have a problem connecting with other people, just interpersonal relationship just gone kaboom, or they're just unbalanced characters. And that seems to be the cliche of this type of series, which itself is fine. But with this series here, we have a doctor who looks like just got out of I don't know, elementary school, who's supposed to be full grown up with zero social skills. Can read a clue, can read the air in the room. She just does whatever she pleases, which just upsets a lot of people. And she's not really very nice to the ones who want to work for her as well, which kind of just annoys the heck out of me. Because in medical fields, you could be the most incompetent person there is, but as long as you get along with other people, they will cover for you. But in this case, it's almost as if she's just so out there, just begging to be pegged down. It's like any little mistake that she makes, they're gonna try to nail her, which was the case with, I believe, episode 7, when she was hit with a lawsuit over wrongful diagnosis, that which turned out to be not the case. But I'm watching that. I was almost like cheering for the lawsuits to go through. That's how unlikable she is.
Uh, Another show it reminded me of, kind of like an unlikable character, but you still love her, was Gosik. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Ah, yeah.
But yeah, I love these types of shows. I was kind of actually hoping to hear something good about this. But
I mean, I'll say the first episode, the first medical case is somewhat interesting because it's not something you'll come across very often. which is about the person who's found dead with a blue blood coming out instead of a red, and trying to figure out what prompted that to happen. That's probably the most difficult case that she presented so far, because all the other cases that comes after, or something that if you somewhat in tune with like medical stuff, then you'll probably figure out fairly easily. So left me quite disappointed. And she does the whole like magical girl sequence with her hand gesture when she's trying to come up with the solution to this medical mystery. I'm like, after second time, like, oh, please don't do this again.
All right. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Let's go to the next title, which looks like it's going to be Jessica. I thought we already kind of talked about this. Is this just because you watched it now or later?
We had mentioned it earlier, Albert and I, because it was left over from the last season, but I hadn't finished it at the time we discussed it, and I have finished it now. Watch Orb, run, do not walk to your nearest Netflix and watch this. That's really all I can say, unless, Albert, do you want to discuss any of it at all?
I mean, you either like drama or you don't, and this is like high drama. It was really well done. I really like all the perspectives, all the characters, even the villain, right? They're all believable people that are working, based on their own belief system. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend it. I know it's not for everyone. If you are just expecting action, this is
No.
not one of those. But it does make you think a lot. I will say that I think I said this in the when we did previews, but the story of heliocentrism is fictionalized and dramatized. So the kind of things that these people went through did not happen because they believed in heliocentrism. That kind of thing happened because they were other. That kind of thing happened in the church because of interfaith conflicts and witchcraft accusations. But and, yeah, so no single individual or scholar or scientist was tortured and burnt at the stake in real life. But in this fictionalized, dramatized story, that is what happens. But they're to contrast, their firm belief in doing something for the sake of discovery to find the truth, as they say many times in the story. So yeah, I highly recommend it to anyone who likes that kind of drama and character-driven stories.
All right. Next up is oh my goodness, this is a mouthful. I'll just say it in English. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. Oh yeah, that's definitely a light novel title with how long that is, right?
Did you finish it?
Oh yes, I did. It was very fun. I've read some of the manga, not all of it, so I knew a little bit of how it started. But with how it progressed into this, I'm wondering, is there any more to the story, or is it actually done? Because it did kind of seem like they kind of finished, or they came to a good stopping point for this whole series. That if they didn't continue on, it's actually okay. But other than that, the only thing that I thought was really strange about this show was that every few episodes they would switch the order of the opening and ending. Like they would play the ending first and then play the opening at the end.
Hmm.
So there's a few episodes where that happens, and at first I was shocked. I'm like, wait, are we at the end already? And then I finally noticed, oh no, they're switching those around. But yeah,
That's kind of weird, but yeah.
yeah. But I would say this actually, the opening is one of my favorite this season. It has a really good song, and just even the visual is really nice storytelling. So if anyone, I don't know if you haven't seen this show, but if you check out that, it has nothing to do with the story at all, the opening. But it does tell its own little short story that's just really fun to check out. And but the show itself is pretty. I think it was pretty average with this with the guild receptionist trying to just live her life in the most simplest way, but work keeps on getting in her way. It's the best way to put it, I guess, for myself. So, was it Vinny? I think you were the biggest fan of this, right?
I wouldn't call it the biggest fan, but I was more excited than others to see this series, I guess.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah, as you say, it came out to be pretty average. It was alright, but nothing to write home about.
Excuse me. Yeah. What is her name again? The main girl, Ali, Alina, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just Alina wanting to go home after a hard days of work, but she wants to go home on time. But because of the incompetent adventures that surround her and bother her, that she keeps on getting tons of work, and she just decides to take things into her own hands and becomes like this vigilante adventure kind of thing, where she goes and completes the quest herself. So it just keeps on happening over and over again, but eventually the story does get a little bit darker at the end, I would say, where they try to, I don't know, I think they were trying to make us side with the main antagonist, but I just didn't, I just wasn't falling for it. I don't know, I just couldn't be on his side. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, it was pretty average, I would say. Yeah.
To me, this series felt like a projection of overworked Japanese salaryman, but turned that around as a OL, office lady who's having a hard time with all the workload and just decided to just let it loose in form of a fantasy world. So instead of getting salaryman getting isekai into a different world, it just feels like a projection of overworked average salaryman just wanted to kick their boss's ass for keep getting all this overwork without getting paid for or being compensated and all that. So like a lighthearted fantasy of just go home on time, clock work, like a 9 to 5 job, being a 9 to 5 job and not 9 to 9 job.
I guess the one saving grace about this thing, I guess for Vinny, because I know Vinny complains a lot about a lot of these fantasy kind of isekai shows where
Yes.
they constantly throw leveling into your face or super skill. This one was actually pretty laid back on all that stuff. There was no really talk about levelings or this is your level. It was just mainly 3 sections for their skills, right? Just 3 levels.
Yeah, I'll give a pass on this series simply because Adventure Guild is interwoven into the story, so it's not just some cheap throwaway plot line. You kind of have to have it. So I'll give a pass on the Adventure Guild part, and it doesn't really have a leveling this and leveling there, so that's fine too. And yeah, so you said it has the special skill that people has. It was broken down into 3 different levels, but it's pretty hard set in stone. It's not something that you go up and down willy nilly. So that part really did not bother me in this series, unlike many, 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 many other series.
Hmm. But yeah, Dragon, did you want to say anything else or go to the next title?
We can probably go to the next. I didn't get to watch as much as I wanted for this anime because I was busy a lot. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to go to a title no one finished because I'm really curious to see why people didn't finish. Because I thought it was really good and I wanted to finish it myself, but I didn't finish it. Which was Flower and Azura, which is on High Dive.
Yeah, for me, it was that the supporting cast was incredibly unlikable. And there are a couple of characters in the background that are just overly hostile to one another and to the main character. And it's okay to have just maybe one of those characters in your anime, but when half the cast is at each other's throats, it's just kind of exhausting and not really fun to watch. And that's why I dropped it. Also, it's on High Dive, and High Dive is a terrible, terrible player in terms of keeping track of your shows and what you've watched and all of that. So it has to be a really good show for it to be on High Dive and me watching it.
I'll have to agree with you on that. Like, all those other characters that they end up showing within the class, I kind of didn't really enjoy as well. And I also thought it was really strange, like, how they're pushing more for this competition rather than just. I thought she just kind of did it because she loved it and just had fun doing it, right?
Yeah,
Why did it have to be this whole competition? So.
I don't know. And for me, I had a real problem with some of the characters saying, "Okay, we're all right, let me give a specific example." So she gets corralled into being on the announcement for school. So her senpai's sitting her down and kind of is trying to get her to ad lib and everything, and Hana bombs it. Doesn't do very well at all. Really embarrassed about the whole thing. So then the next day, another one of the classmates says, "Well, how about you come on with me? And don't worry, I won't make you ad lib." And what does she do? She makes her freaking ad lib. And I really hate it when someone says, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to do the thing that you don't want me to do." And then they end up doing that thing anyway because it's a breach of trust. And then it's, okay, I don't trust you anymore. And she wasn't the only character that did stuff like that, though. Her senpai was really pushy, and I just did not care for any of the supporting cast at all.
I see. Now, I will admit about that part which was fun, is the learning about the different um, categories that fell into that kind of thing, where he's talked about the announcing, the story reading, and I think what was the other one? They had a third one, right?
I don't remember, but you're right. That part was really cool, especially where they talked about how you have to use different inflection on the language. And the teacher gave a little lesson about, okay, you need to emphasize this point or this syllable here. But if you're doing it in this way, you want to emphasize this other syllable here. That was really cool, and I would have liked more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So yeah, like I do think even if they would have toned down the antagonistic parts of it at the when they're introducing themselves, where they're learning about each other, I thought that was also really
Mm-hmm.
fun too. But yeah, I kind of do want to go back and try to finish this. But how far did you get, Vinny?
I made it to episode 6.
Okay, you got farther than I did.
Just when they started to tone down on an antagonistic conundrum, she was getting ready for competition piece as to which one to pick out, and of course, everybody has all different opinions about it. And I was gonna catch up on it, then I got sidetracked.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's understandable for this show, I guess. But honestly, it looked like a really beautiful show and looked really good. But just, we'll see. Maybe hopefully someone out there will tell me different. the next title we got is going to be this. Possibly the greatest alchemist of all time, which seems to be the only thing. I'm the only person that watched this. And it's because it's your
I
isekai
watched it.
garbage. Oh, you watched it. Nice. But
Yeah, all of it.
it's your typical isekai garbage with the protagonist coming in with, I guess, the goddess's blessing. And he. But rather than being like this guy that just wants to be strong and just defeat all the enemies and everything, he's more of a production type of hero, I guess you could say, or traveler. So rather than building combat skills, he's just building his alchemy skills, his metalworking skills to create things that are in our world that would be useful in theirs to live life a little easier and to make life wholesome for everyone. So, of course, since it's your typical isekai, there's the harem characters that he ends up gathering and such. But the other interesting thing about this, which I thought was pretty fun, was that everything in this whole series takes place almost entirely a year before the actual summoned heroes appear. Because he was actually caught up in a summoning, and he was someone that was not supposed to be there, but just because of how the ritual was done, he got caught up in it. So, if they do come up with a season 2, it seems like it's going to be taking place all after the heroes is and how they've changed, because you could see some slight changes as they go back and forth through time of how the heroes have grown. And man, those heroes, scummy, except for one. But yeah, I mean it wasn't bad, but it was a I'm surprised that no one else watched it though. I guess it's just because of the isekai.
Yeah, and it ended up not that great. Like the second half, the animation was dropping off quite hard in places, and they also, wanted to get to the point where they at least had a confrontation with the summoned heroes who have become brainwashed basically by the kingdom. They weren't supposed to use a summoning spell, right? And then on top of which they brainwashed the two male heroes into doing whatever they want them to do. So I understand they wanted to get to that point, but my God, the last like 4 episodes, it was a speed run of events. And then this happened, and then we jumped to this, and this happened. And there's like no breathing room. So it wasn't adaptation-wise. I think it was not that good. But I enjoy reading the manga, despite all the ridiculous things that go on and his OP skills. Mainly because he's not. He's mainly OP as a kind of a side, as an aside from all his crafting skills that gives him all these boosts, and his magical abilities that are related to crafting that he can use as combat. So, it's not. In that case, in that sense, it's not strictly like many of the other low-ranked isekai stories. But yeah, this adaptation was very mid.
Yeah, but we still got our goddess Aqua up in heaven with us in this one. The next title, let's see here. Oh, this is Jessica. Hanako season 2.
Yeah. If you haven't watched season 1, then there's very little I can say to convince you to watch season 2, except that it is just as good as the first season, so you don't have to worry about the quality of the story falling off. And I believe we're gonna get a season 3 this summer. So I will definitely be there for that. I am on board.
So, just out of curiosity, because I can't really remember, is this just like a comedy in school life, or is it mystery? Because I know that it has a lot of the like, what do you call it, ghost stories, right? Type of things going on.
Yeah, it has to do with the seven school mysteries, which if you watched anime, you probably hear allusions to it in other school slice of life, like there's a missing step on one of the staircases, the anatomy model comes to life at night, that kind of stuff. And so this is all about giving personifying those mysteries and just trying to make sure that the mysteries don't take over the school. It's largely comedic, but there is a very dramatic and serious through line to it all because we learned that um, Yashiro only has about a year to live because of the curse that she sustained in the first season of the anime. And she's also trying to uncover more of Hanako's past life, which is pretty awful. And then I've read the manga, so I know that there's some more darker stuff coming down the pipe. So it's kind of a blend of both things.
I see. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is a title that I can't believe got a second season, but I guess it's just that popular, which is the Kimi. How do you, sorry, I'm looking for the title, but it looks like I don't have the title here. Let me pull it up here. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You, Season 2. I know Dragon was watching this.
I only watched like a couple episodes just because I saw clips popping up on like TikTok, and I was like, oh, I want to watch that episode. So, I mean, it's if you watch the first season, you're probably gonna watch this season. It's just basically continuing on his journey, meeting new people. Um, but the only reason I got back into like continuing to try to watch it was because I saw the karaoke clip. And I was like, I want to watch that episode because it's Shizuka that's singing, and then everyone is falling in love with her cute voice and her cute singing voice. So, and then a funny reference that they do is that when they are like blown back towards the wall because of how cute, the cuteness overload from Shizuka, they all do the Yamcha pose. So, uh, I was showing it to a friend because he really likes Dragon Ball. I was like, I was like, do you recognize what's happening right now? Then, yeah, that's about it. But I think um, it's just your usual like seeing all the cute like and also somewhat lewd moments with all the girls and women.
All right. Thank you. Next up is I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons. Now,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that Jessica talked the show up quite a bit when it first talked about it. So
Uh-huh.
I went and watched a little bit of it, actually. I think I saw 4 or 5 episodes. And
Okay, which
I like it. It's good.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
it's
And
it was surprisingly
I
very
finished
interesting.
it. Yeah, I finished it, and it does maintain its quality throughout the entirety of the show. I had several laugh out loud moments with watching this because Letitia is nothing if not funny with the stuff that she gets herself into. She has a little Winnie the Pooh moment where she gets stuck. So her front half's hanging outside and her bottom half is stuck in the castle, and it just is hilarious. Um, I really liked this one. It was a lot of fun.
Mhm. So I think the biggest appeal to me was that it's pretty obvious she wants nothing to be in this situation, right? and everyone is just trying to get in her way. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
because they want her to be happy, it's just that they don't want to deal with the issues anymore.
Yeah. And like I said last time, is this show could have been deeply problematic if it weren't a comedy where everything is played for laughs. And so since Letitia isn't upset or worried and doesn't cry and stuff, she just keeps trying to escape. No matter what happens to her, she just keeps on trying to escape and usually resulting in something really funny. And it could have gotten pretty grim and dark, and it never did. And I think that that was the right choice to make. Um, there's a couple of scenes I thought were hilarious where she and her brother are fighting over these buns that their mom sent to them. And it's the most realistic depiction of sibling rivalry ever, just the way they handle that. I laughed really hard with that scene. So, yeah, this is a good time. It's not something that I would say you have to watch um, for your anime watching career or anything, but it's a really good palate cleanser if you're kind of down in the dumps or if you watch something really sad or depressing. This might be the cure for that.
Jessica, I just want to mention that my favorite part was when she got kidnapped.
Yeah, no.
Because the whole fight of we need to return her. No, you don't. No, you don't. And her trying to convince them to drop her off somewhere else, and just the whole political aspects of everything that's happening that's keeping this whole issue ongoing was just so fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I definitely want to try to finish this because it was a really great show. Did it actually come with a good conclusion, or is it like, oh, we can still have more?
Oh, no, it's concluded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a definite ending. I don't know. Is this one based on a manga? What's it?
Yeah, it does
Let
have
me look.
source manga.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if the manga keeps going, but the way that the anime wrapped up is it was a pretty satisfying ending.
All right. All right, that's a good show then. Uh, Dragon, did you want to talk about I have a crush at work or?
No, it's okay. We can skip it because I haven't really caught up to it. I only stopped on what I watched like way back, so I don't really have much else to say because I haven't really continued it.
Okay, and I think we'll skip Kuroi wa Medaka as well because I haven't watched enough of it.
Okay.
No one else has seen it too. So we'll go to everyone's probably top show of the season, which is
Hell yeah.
um, I don't have a title for this. Oh well, we'll just skip the title card. Just go straight to it. Oh, clicked on the wrong button. Season 2 of the Apothecary Diaries. It's two cores, right? So it's actually going to keep on going, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
How did you all feel in the first half?
Oh, I freaking loved it, of course. The last episode that I watched was at 35. Yes, when they're in the cave. Oh, best episode ever.
I found that this season they're having Jishin dress up as a lot as well, and going into doing a bunch of different things. But I have to say the opening got a major upgrade too. It was really fun to see that opening.
Yeah.
Just everything about this show just screams awesome.
It's so good. Mao Mao's one of the best protagonists to come out in the last 10 years, probably. She's amazing. I love her.
Mm-hmm. So let me think about it. I can't. It's surprisingly that I think it's just the impact of the latest episode was so big. I kind of forgot a lot of what happened throughout the rest of the season. Because I know there was a few little other instances having to deal with pregnancy, right?
Hmm.
And also diplomats that are coming over, right, from
Yeah.
somewhere else. So there's a lot of things I think that they're setting up for towards the end. So I might have to watch some of this stuff to try to get some more information or see, because I think I was also doing some other work while I was watching it, so I kind of missed some tidbits. But um, what's your take on it so far?
I think it is going to come back around to all of the pregnancy stuff, and they're probably going to have the concubine, the birth of the concubine's child, be the end of the season. Maybe is what I'm guessing.
Aren't there
Um,
aren't there two of them pregnant, right?
yes, but it's the one that Mau Mau works for that I think they're leading up to, because she's had the attempts on her life, and the poisons are still running around. And I did do a little bit of Wikipedia scrolling with that orpiment stuff, which I found was pretty interesting. It really was used as a pigment and a paint, and it is toxic. So I thought that was cool. I always love it when a show or a game makes me go and learn something that's tangential to it. I always appreciate that.
I can't remember. I think someone did post something about color blindness as well, because they had an episode about colorblind.
Albert did, yeah.
So there's a lot of really interesting uh, information you can get from the show, especially um, considering the timeline it's in.
Yes, and I feel it's pretty funny how observant Mau Mau is, but she hasn't figured out that Jinshi isn't a eunuch yet.
I to,
And
honestly, to me, it feels that I don't think it's not that she doesn't find out; it's that she's making herself like, I can't know anything. I shouldn't know anything. I'm gonna try to
oh,
ignore everything. That's the
that could
feeling
be
I get.
too. That could be too.
Because she does that a lot in the first season too. Remember when there's the Cortis that tried to kill herself and another guy? She was like
Yes, but
piecing it together, but then she's like, "No, this is something I shouldn't get myself into." And then,
she's also had a couple of conversations in her head where she's like, "Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't bring this up because it would hurt his feelings because he doesn't have, you know, stuff down there." And that's what makes me think that she's kind of oblivious to the fact that he is not a eunuch. Um, but see, I've read a lot of these stories where it takes place in China in the imperial harem, and it's a trope, right? That there's a really sexy, hot eunuch guy that that's the love interest, and it turns out he's not a eunuch. It's been done many times before, but I think here it's kind of fresh because it's built around mysteries and Mau Mau solving mysteries, but she can't solve the one that's closest to her. So I can't wait to see her reaction when the shoe drops.
so anyone else have anything to add to it, or
I will say that all the previous episodes, all the small things, they will come back. It's kind of important that you go back and remember who's who or who she's met. So, for example, remember the servants, female servants clinic, right? That's attended by the old woman.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. It will become very important later on. So it's very interesting how everything is being set up and woven. Like I said, even with this end of this second core of season 2, not it's not going to get to a super important point. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to do the story in that sense, because I've been reading the manga and you know I know things that are coming and the pacing, and it's going to be interesting how they're going to either end it and then have a season 3 or maybe a movie or whatever. Because the thing with Mao Mao and Jinshi won't resolve well, it doesn't actually resolve even where I've read, but it won't come to a head at the end of this season. So he's remarkably dense sometimes, like a male protagonist, right? In one of these isekai harem shows where, what?
Mhm.
Did people like me? What? All these girls like me? And she is, by her own admission, at fault and lacks the skill to really understand the people's emotions around her. So figure it out, Mao Mao.
All right. Thank you. Next up is going to be a show I don't think anyone liked because of what it implied at the beginning. Let me put the title up there. Boom. Magic Maker. So Magic Maker is your isekai where this guy dies, gets isekai'd, and he's like, yes, I'm in a new world. I can use magic. And then as a child, he asks his father, hey, is there magic in this world? And he gets reads out, no, that doesn't exist. He doesn't even know what the word magic means. So distraught and sad, he's realizes that he's been isekai'd into a world that he doesn't love. But through some other children and friends, he does realize that there is this thing in this world that could kind of be related to magic, or he is going to be calling magic, and now he's going to use his next life to try to research it and try to create magic in this world. Now, the biggest thing about this show, which everyone hated, was that the way for him to use this ability was love, and he loves his sister oh so much. And that's where the biggest conflict about the show, I think, was his love for his sister, and his sister loved him. And also the fact that they're like, what, 10-year-old kids with all these feelings. But he's slowly building up his magic, and I think once you get past that whole beginning part and to the second half is where the show actually starts going really fun and really interesting. Because at the beginning, it's him researching, trying to figure out how things work and how things are, his family being supportive, and him trying to learn how to accept the support from his family instead of trying to hide or whatever. The second half has to deal with an issue that's plaguing the town and plaguing his actual sister, where she's in a coma kind of state. So I haven't seen the end of it yet. I'd really want to go and watch it, but I can't believe anything bad's going to happen with this type of show. But it was actually surprisingly good once you got to the second half. But other than that, let's go to the next title. The next title is a show I watched, I think, because of Vinny. Vinny had requested this during our anime night, so we were watching it. Medalist. Jessica Albert, do you know what Medalist is about?
No, I haven't heard
Yeah,
of this one.
it's good. I watched the first 3. I've been meaning to complete it, but I haven't, and I know season 2 was announced. So, but yeah, it's figure skating. So I thought it was actually like the episodes I watched. I thought were very well done, if a little over the top, and you know. What is the girl's name? Yuri is as cute as a button, and all her expressions are hilarious. So but it's not available, right? I had to use Method,
So
so
it's on Hulu. That's why I think it was so hard for people to
it's on
watch.
Hulu.
Yes.
Jesus. All right.
Yeah. It took us a while to figure out, but it was one of those titles that I was like, what? It's really over there? It's kind of like when it's on Amazon Prime, right? You're like, I wouldn't have expected that. But yeah, Medalist is about figure skating, and I can't remember what age she's at. I think is she at the beginning of her middle school years?
She was at the end of her elementary school.
Yeah,
It
so
was fifth grade or so.
yeah, but I think the issue with her and becoming a figure skater at the beginning was that she's far too old. A lot of the people who get into figure skating start at a younger age, and I think even her
Yeah, the age of
sister.
a 5 or so.
And it also implied a lot that her sister was a figure skater, right?
Yeah, her sister took the traditional route of starting early, went through the competition routes, then she got injured and she ended up uh, quitting for good.
Yeah, but with Inori being the kind of character she is, she's very secluded in herself, very timid, but because of figure skating, she's beginning to open up, and it's a nice how they're doing the character development for her. They're taking their time. It's not like they're rushing and saying, "Oh, now she's got to be this great person." Even I think the her teacher tells her that we need to take our time. It's not something we can rush because there is actual real danger with this. You can get hurt, and but she does feel that rush because she's starting later than everyone else. And very early, she also gains a goal that she wants to um, get to, which is to skate with this figure skater called Hikaru. And if you ever watch the show, even if it's just for the figure skating scenes, they're pretty amazing. They're really well done. And I don't know if you've seen Free and how that show went. I find that these are pretty close to what they did on Free as far as the quality. Or not Free, Yuri on Ice. Why am I saying Free? Yuri, Free was swimming.
Oh no, Yuri on Ice was much better in terms of a presentation on the figure skating part.
Well,
I mean, Medalist is pretty good, but I think it's kind of hard to top Yuri on Ice.
but other than that, I haven't
Mappa, give us our movie.
I haven't seen the end of it yet, the last episode. So I'm going to have to go watch that soon. But overall, it's been pretty good. I think it's progressed fairly well where she's now about to enter actual competitions, right? Or how far did you get, Vinny?
She went through the first competition. I think she was going to the second competition.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
think the second season will probably start with her third competition just before the junior A level.
Oh, that's right, 'cause she got injured in her first one, right?
Hmm.
Oh, spoiler, sorry. But yeah, really interesting show, really fun. It's something I would recommend if you have Hulu, but I don't know if it's worth buying a Hulu subscription just to watch.
There's gotta be free Hulu subscription lying around somewhere.
Next up, we'll go with this title. Looks like almost everyone watched was Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf, right? This was another show with a really fun opening song. Now, would you classify this as isekai, or reverse isekai?
Yeah.
I would say it's a two-way isekai. I mean, they keep switching back and forth between both real world and the fantasy world. So I'd say it's like double isekai. It's like both normal and reverse.
So I will say this show I think does do a decent job at balancing between the two, because rather than being going back and forth abruptly between episode or in the episode, it seems like they spend an episode here, an episode there, an episode here, an episode there, and um, the elf, I think her name is Mariabelle, is also slowly learning how to speak Japanese, and by the end of the series, you can kind of see she's picking up and able to speak with some of the locals, which is pretty fun for her. Kazuhiro, of course, is realizing. I think it's both of them actually are realizing their feelings for each other as we get closer to the end, with the help of Widora, the dragon. But other than that, it seems it's a very slow pace, slow life world, with seeing how Japan is versus the other world with its action, labyrinth diving, fighting, monsters, and such. So we get a good balance of both. I don't know. It's really hard to. I personally really enjoyed it and would recommend it to others to watch, but as far as anything that stood out like more than anything else, I can't say there was anything. It was just all pretty good across the board for me.
What did you think of all the food animation?
The food animation? I guess
Yeah, I mean they had a lot of food, right? I mean that's part of the appeal of the show. I feel like.
I don't know. I guess it didn't really stand out to me too much. Like, I don't know. Because honestly, that part doesn't stick in my head as much. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to that part, but because I know Ridora was also a really big foodie into it, and I know she was, but it wasn't like Food Wars where you have this whole animation with all these weird antics going on. It was just her giving this really good opinion of like, oh, this is so amazing. This is, and him giving a little bit of like, oh, we got this from here. But
yeah,
maybe I'm missing something, but I didn't think it was all that big as some other shows when it came to the food.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything else to say about it, or?
It's a comfy show.
Yeah.
I would recommend it. And it's not the power fantasy isekai genre, right? It's just the slow life isekai genre. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was some animation issues, I think, towards the second half, but not too bad. So I just noticed some things were slightly off character model, or some things looked a little stiff, but yeah, overall, perfectly fine, enjoyable. And if there's a second season, I'll probably watch it. I haven't read the manga, so I think there's a lot more issues. Or is it based on light? I think it's actually based on a light novel that also has a manga. So I've been reading the manga, but I haven't read the manga. I mean, so yeah, I think I'll wait for the anime.
The thing I will say about this show, which was I think a little bit different from others, especially when it comes to other people coming to Japan, is that it wasn't all about Akihabara, right? These anime eccentrics that just want to go visit those places. We got to see a lot of different places. I think even his home country, right? I can't remember where it was, or his hometown, not country, hometown. So let's go to the next title then. What's this? Oh, the Okinawa show. Dun, 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 dun. There it is. There's the title card. Okitsura. I fell in love with an Okinawan girl, but I just wish I knew what she said, right? Or what she's saying. Yeah. This show was really fun. I don't know how true a lot of the information we're getting from it is, but overall, it was just a really fun comedy show to see the Teru learning how different mainland Japan or Tokyo is compared to this small island in Okinawa, right? I think he lives in one of the smaller islands, right? And a lot of the jokes they do with his miscommunication or his misunderstanding is how things are was always the biggest joke in his shows. Like, even when he goes to the beach, he's all in his swimsuit and like, yay, let's go. And everyone's fully dressed. Like, we don't go to the beach to swim. We just go to the beach to hang out. Which is a really fun culture thing. I think my biggest gripe with this was I want Kana to be with Teru rather than Hina. I'm on Team Kana all the way. And I just love her and her shyness and how she's expresses herself around him. But overall, there's a lot of subtle jokes in there that are just really fun to check out. Like, I think there was a scene where they were explaining to him about the Okinawan culture, and Hana's younger sister's pitting like selfish on his shoulder, and throughout the whole conversation you see more and more appear on his shoulder because she's like seeing how much he can pit on there until he notices, and it's really funny the things that are going on the screen at that moment. But if you hate subtitles, this is definitely not one, because everything is going to be a lot of subtitles all over the place. I think Crunchyroll did a good job of subtitling this show with the coloring and putting the subtitle placements in different areas rather than just the typical at the bottom for everything. So as far as the subtitling goes, I think Crunchyroll did a really good job on this. But yeah, I will say the last episode was a shock. I was not expecting what happened, but be sure to check it out. It's very decent. I think Albert mentioned that none of these people speak that native language, right? It's just them going off and
No,
saying,
so the situation is the three main cast, right?
Oh.
Teru, Kana, and Hina are not from Okinawa, but a lot of the supporting cast actually are from or have lived in Okinawa. So their, their accent dialect is actually real, it seems like, which you kind of need. And I know they also had the main actors talked about having a dialect coach. So there was someone that was from Okinawa and teaching them. Yeah, so I think they did a good job. When I tried to read the manga, I read the first volume. It was really hard to. I mean, I liked it, but it was also very hard because I couldn't hear the sound, right? And anime, you can actually hear them speak and hear how different it is from Japanese, standard Japanese. So all of that. I think the anime did a fantastic job. They also had these little tidbits that they would talk about. In Okinawa this happens, or in Okinawa there's no train, so it's a car culture. All these kinds of things. So, yeah, I highly recommend it if you're interested in something, somewhere besides Tokyo and Akihabara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's actually quite a few shows that take place in Okinawa. but this is the first time it's actually taken a good look at the culture there, which I think was pretty fun. It's like very different from the, what was it, Hokkaido Girls, where you learned about Hokkaido a few seasons ago. Next up, oh, this is, I think, yeah, this is Jessica's favorite show. Solo Leveling.
Ha! For the record, I don't hate it. It's just, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. That's all.
I think, what was it? I think, didn't it used to, as a manhwa, it used to be translated, I Alone Level Up or something like that?
I don't know. I never read the manhwa or webtoon or whatever it's based on. Or actually, I think there's a novel, because my husband's been reading the novels.
Yeah, I think the novels are based off of the web novel.
Oh, okay. So
because it was a
started
novel.
with the web.
Yeah, it started with the web novel.
I think it was a webtoon. It was a webtoon first, I believe.
Oh,
But
Really?
you could go
Yeah.
check it.
I think it started as a webtoon, then it was adapted into light novel, then adapted into Japanese manga, then to anime adaptation, and then went into a movie or something like that.
Okay, I have to look, because I honestly thought the novel was first because it was so much further than the manhwa when I was reading it.
Mm.
So maybe they just wrote the book faster than they did the manhwa. So that's probably why I was getting confused with which came first. But Solo Leveling
Well,
2,
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the manga might have finished first, right? And then it has to get translated into English. So you can't just say because you read it that it was done first or whatever. So
well,
I don't know. I could look into it.
well, like I was reading it even before season 1 of the actual manhwa was done. So like season 2 ends with the season 1 finish of the manhwa because they actually cut it off at this point in the manhwa. They took a break, and then it started releasing again, which is going to probably be the next season. But the web novel or whatever I read was way further than this at this point. So that's why I thought it was that way. But going with Solo Leveling, there's I don't know if you guys have ever heard, I think Albert knows, there's a YouTube videos that has a guy that's going through and all the skip content between the manhwa light novel and the anime and sharing all that information. So if you want to, I think it's called Annie News, check that out. They have really good videos showing you everything that's different and how much they cut to save time. So rather than mention that at an art talk, we can just go with it turned out just as good as the first season, I guess. I don't know. I mean, there were some moments that I was somewhat disappointed with because from the visuals from the manhwa, I thought it was going to look cooler, but then in the anime it wasn't. But then again, there's some really boring parts in the manhwa that the anime did a really good job in boosting it up and making it look really good.
it's visually a pretty pleasing show to look at.
Yeah.
Got real flick animation, eye-catching fights, that kind of stuff. I think I liked the first season better though because there was more going on narratively.
Yeah, I think season 2 was mostly just him just trying to level up and become stronger, and then the whole Jeju raid.
Yeah.
Well, the
Jeju?
first season was him dealing with his low level, learning about his family and learning about the gates, and then of course him trying to learn what the system's all about and him having to figure out what's actually going on with his life, right? But there are some funny things that are coming out of this show. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the memes out there with Sung Jin Woo and his butt crack out there.
No.
And then also with Chahae, when she got hit, there's all these videos with them putting her in eclipse where she's flying in space or doing all sorts of really things because of how she's spinning. There's some really crazy stuff people have done. But for that Sung Jin Woo butt thing, Jessica, I guess there's a frame that if you pause it, you could see his butt crack like going all the way up his back or something. It's really stupid looking.
You know, I've never been more impressed or disappointed at the internet at the same time. Like, who's going through this anime and watching it frame by frame?
I have no idea. I was just watching my feeds and I was like, what the no way. But yeah, it's a really good show, really good music. I don't know what else to say about this show. I mean, you're pretty much already watching it if you season 2 coming from season 1. I don't know how much of a hiatus we'll have to go till we get to season 3, but we'll have to check that out later.
Yeah, if it were up to me, I probably would have stopped watching after a certain point in season 2. I don't want to say what it is just in case of spoilers, because the last few episodes were just, it was kind of mind-numbing fights that we knew the outcome of. But this is my husband's favorite show, and so I'm watching it with him.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Now you got to make him watch one of your shows, crazy shows.
Oh, believe me, I have tried. It doesn't work.
Like, what was it? Not that it's crazy, but Fruit Baskets, good.
Oh yeah, gosh. I don't think that's his cup of tea.
Well,
But he doesn't like anything sad. And 95% of my anime diet is sad.
Oh.
It just goes with the territory.
Okay, then just suggest Anohana then.
Yeah. Lighthearted romp there. He'll love that one.
Or Your Lie in April.
Oh yeah, I freaking love that one.
Tell them it's all for the music for that one.
Or, maybe just do a movie. A silent voice works, It's super pretty.
Super cheerful.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is a title I think Dragon loved. Sakamoto Days.
Oh, yes. I really enjoyed Sakamoto Days, especially because I was reading the manga for a bit, but I haven't watched, the last few episodes, though. I'm a little bit behind, but...
What episode did you get to?
I finished I'm probably quite a bit behind, but I remember I finished the casino episode.
Because that's actually, I think, the end. It's only 11 episodes.
No.
It's a short series.
Oh, was it only 11?
Yes. That's why it surprised me.
Oh, that's right. It's 11, but then they're gonna start back up again. I remember reading that it's already been confirmed that they're gonna continue.
Yeah, so surprisingly, it's pretty short. People are probably watching this because it's on Netflix, so it's available to everyone out there. It's easy to read. You got action, you got conflict going on all over the place. Sakamoto having to deal with his wife whenever he messes up the family rules. And then the Sakamoto family grows larger and larger with every single conflict.
With each episode, yeah.
So, awesome show. It's really fun to watch, and it's also really out there too. With the types of characters that have shown up. Like at first I thought it was going to be it's pretty well rounded with the setting. Okay, granted, okay, he can read your mind, but that's nothing out there. But then as you get further, there's like this guy that has robot arms and all that. It just gets crazy as you go further on. So be prepared for that. But other than that, A grade for me for this show. Maybe even S rank, right? But yeah. Anyone have anything else to add to it? I mean, you just check it out if you haven't watched it. The other titles we got. Did anyone want to talk about the Salaryman Isekai show? Or should we skip it? Nothing?
I don't think I was paying attention to that one. So I will say skip.
Okay.
I dropped it, so yeah.
I think the other one is Shangara Frontier, which I think is ended, right?
I mean, is there much to say? It's a season 2. It's gonna be the same advice for any other season 2 show.
Yeah. I'll just say that this was a show that I thought I wouldn't want to watch, but surprisingly, it's really fun.
It's been really fun, right? I think the premise of it, or like, it sounded kind of like one of those like stupid shows. But then when you actually watch it, it's really enjoyable. And I remember, Tank, I was telling you because like one of our other friends got me to watch it. I was like, actually, this is not bad, and then that's how I got you into watching it.
All right. Yeah, I would recommend checking it out if you haven't.
Yeah, because all the dynamics of the friends are really funny.
And especially if you like video games too.
Yes.
I think you'll find a lot to like here.
Yeah, because they have a lot of like video game terminology and like humor in it.
And although, what's his name?
Sanraku?
Sanraku? Even though he's kind of this really obnoxious and crazy guy, he's really still, I think, kind of likable in a way. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, he's like obnoxious, but it's like very like if it's being done to you, then you're probably gonna hate it. But if you're seeing it from an outside perspective, like it's really like funny, likable, obnoxious.
Yeah. Next title is Sorairo Utility. Oh, this is the golf one, right?
Yeah, I ended up dropping it after a 3-episode try. I just don't feel it was giving me enough golf, I guess. Like they just skipped over a bunch of stuff and took her to the golf course, which is fine, but I don't know. It didn't really grab me. So I think Vinny kept going with it.
Somehow I did. It's I guess it's mostly cute girls doing cute things with a little bit of realistic golf thrown in there with heavy emphasis on advertisement. Because the clubs they use in this series is actual product, mostly from Mizuno, which is equipment maker, one of the more better known one, and Yamaha, which I didn't know they make a golf club, but here we are. It's okay. If you like a cutie sub, it's fine. If you have some interest in golf, you could probably watch it. But if you already are knee deep in golf, knows about most of the rules, including obscure ones, then this really does nothing to add. There's no extra or useless knowledge that you didn't know that you will find in this series. It's really more about the main character who learns the well, discovers the joy of playing golf and going through all the rookie mistakes to become a better player. But nothing serious. It's pretty much casual. Only thing I learned from this series is that golf culture in Japan is quite different from the casual golf culture in the stateside. It's really more buttoned down over there. Just and I shudder to think how much would actually cost to play over there because not only you have to make a reservation in the morning hours to play around, then there's a proper lunch served, then there's a locker room with the showers and the bathtub where you can soak it in. I'm like, whoa, it's like a country club. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's gonna be one of those you try to watch first episode. If it doesn't hit you, then you can safely move over.
So is this like just casual golf or competition golf or like school team or like
It's really more casual golf. The main character, she ends up in a golf driving range where you practice hitting the shots, and there where she befriends one of the regulars who used to be an amateur, top level amateur player, and she learns how to play golf from her, and she befriends another person who is an influencer. Um, but no, there's no school involved. There's no real team involved per se. It does have some virtual golf competition using the meters and the apps, but nothing serious about that. It's just mostly about you taking a steps to become a better player from the get go. So when it actually had a moment where she'll just ramp it up, ready to hit the ball, and yet she hits nothing but air when the ball just stays the way it is. I'm like, well, at least they got that part right. Because everybody will do that when you try to play golf at the beginning. And anybody who say, "Oh, I never done that," there, well, they're lying.
They're lying.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
never done that.
exactly.
Just kidding. I think I was more likely to hit those big divots than anything else.
What divots? Yes, and that was my biggest fear learning when I learned to play golf because I ended up breaking a club by digging straight into the ground. So after that, I was so traumatized by it. I ended up hitting the ball on the top side so much, which did a lot of damage on my end, aside from the ball not going anywhere. But yeah, but that's a growing pain for any players, and they do project some of that casual mishaps as a beginner. There's no lucky shots or there's no prodigy, you know, hitting everything straight and going, making fantastic rounds. There's nothing like that, which is the good part of this series.
okay. Next up, it looks like it's mostly just Jessica on this list. Do you want to skip?
Lucky you guys.
Did you want to skip Udabelt or how do you say that?
Ubelblatt.
Ubublat.
Yeah. It was terrible. I dropped it in episode 4. The animation just completely tanked to the point where it wouldn't even make visual sense. That you'd have a scene in a camp with a lot of tents, and then something would happen and all the tents would be gone from the rest of the scene. Stuff like that. I don't recommend it at all.
Dang, and to think I was gonna try and start because I saw a clip and it looked really interesting. I was like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Not unless you're a glutton for punishment, I'm afraid.
Dang, that's disappointing to hear that.
Yeah.
The next title is Happy Marriage. I actually want to binge watch that probably tonight because I liked it a lot. So how was that? Was it just as good as the first season, or did it get better, or is it more?
I think it's at least for me, I enjoyed it more because Mio is starting to come out of her shell and she's starting to assert herself little by little, which is absolutely huge for her. And so watching her character transform is really rewarding. Um, so I think I'm liking it a little bit more. I still have I believe the last episode is not going to air until April 9th. So we can't finish it quite yet. But it's also gorgeous to look at too. Her kimono are works of art. So I've been having a really good time with this one.
So this is kind of strange because it says it's episode 12 is delayed, right? Until
12 or 13, one I can't remember which.
it says episode 12 delayed by 1 week, and then it's 13 episodes. So I guess there's supposed to be 2 more now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just the last one, but sure.
That's just what the websites tell me on what I use.
I mean, I believe you. If that's what the website says, it's probably true.
So
Yeah, Netflix only has 11 out. So I thought we only had the one left, but it sounds like we have 2 left.
So is this more like action oriented in the second half? Because I know it got a little more action in the later half of the first season, especially with the I can't remember what they call them, but like the demons, right, that inhabit this world.
There are a couple of action scenes. I wouldn't say that the focus of the show is action oriented though. So you're gonna have to be a little bit on the patient side. But if you've seen the first season and liked that, then I don't think you'll have a problem with the pace of this season. However, there are more, they call them grotesqueries, which I really can't stand. I think that's a terrible description. But anyway, there are more of those showing up, and the bad guys are making more appearances on Kyoka's home turf, as you will. So there's more going on in the action department than there was the first season.
So, like honestly, action wasn't the biggest selling point to me on this show, so I'm not too worried about that. The only thing I'm worried about is that, especially with that OVA episode that dropped later on, it was all about her trying to transition into this higher lifestyle, and her learning how to interact with the other aristocrats, I guess you can call them. I'm just hoping it's not a lot of that because I didn't really kind of care for that too.
It's not too political in that way. Is that there's a thing that happens where they believe that home is no longer safe, and so Mio has to spend most of her time with Kyoka at his workplace. And so she's introduced to new characters and she's getting to know those people, but I wouldn't call them the nobility. They're just part of the military. And she becomes friends with the only female military cadet at the station where they are. So that's kind of the trajectory of the show.
All right.
I believe there are a couple cameos of the Emperor and stuff, but it's not the emphasis at all. Not like the OVA.
So you know what I'm thinking? Since the other one had an OVA and they called that episode 13, maybe this one does end on episode 12 and episode 13 is probably going to be an OVA as well.
B.
Let's go ahead and go to the next show then. Or our last show was called Zenshu. I kind of mentioned this beforehand that I wanted to like this, but for some reason I just couldn't get myself to watch it.
And yeah, I mean, every anime is not going to be for everybody, and sometimes stuff just doesn't click, even though, and I've had this too, where all of the elements that make up the show are things that I like, things that I enjoy, and it just doesn't work for me, and I can't quite put my finger on it. So I understand where you're coming from, Tank, but this Zenshu was probably my second favorite anime with Apothecary Diaries being the first for this season. I absolutely loved this. I loved all of the little nods that it had to really famous works of animation in the past. There's an episode where they use the staircase from Revolutionary Girl Utena to climb up a mountain. Just little things like that I really like. However, there was a plot hook for a season 2. And while it does kind of wrap up and put you in a, okay, that's concluded, and I can live my entire life without ever wondering anymore about Zenshu. There is a little hook at the very end, which indicates that we could be seeing more, or at least the opportunity may present itself. And if that's the case, I'm all in. I would definitely watch it. Did anybody else? I'd like to get more thoughts. Let's see, Vinny, you watched some of it. Dragon, you watched some of it too. What do you guys think?
I thought it was a super pretty anime, but I just haven't gotten far enough into it. But I did see, like, every now and then I would see like clips on like TikTok, and I especially saw snippets of the ending, and people have like kind of gone crazy with the edits, and like I'm just like, dang, I really should watch it. And also, bye, Albert. Good luck with the work emergency.
Goodbye, Albert.
But I kept seeing all these like edits, and I was like, maybe I will watch it, because like I saw those edits and I was like, holy moly, that look, my heart is dying. I saw like, okay, maybe I will put in some time at some point to follow through with it.
So I know it's a bad thing to say, but I will admit that her cut scene when she goes onto her desk kind of got tiring after that for me.
I can see that if you binge it. I watched every episode with a week between, so I didn't really feel that way. But yeah, if I were to sit down and watch it, it would get old fast.
Well, I watched it every week at the beginning, so that
Oh, you did too.
I don't think that was the issue, because at first I was like, "This is such cool, this is so awesome," but then it's the same thing, same thing. I'm like, I understand why they do it and stuff, but for some reason, I guess I'm just getting picky or needy. But as far as the animation afterwards and what happens, I thought it was just awesome and great. But I kind of do wish that there was something that they would make, like something like a comic or manga that told us the original story, so we could see how it veered off or how much she's influenced in this world, because we do get some of it from her memories and her telling her, like, this is what should have happened or this is what, but I'm kind of curious as to how far things have actually diverted because of her.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
Unless you've decided not to finish the show, then I will go ahead and tell you everything that happens. But I think you'll enjoy it if you continue it.
Okay. I probably am going to continue it, though. But yeah, thank you. I'd like to say thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us for Anime Talk. We did skip a few titles because we didn't watch a lot of them. Amagami Sisters, or Tied the Knot with Amagami Sisters, which I watched the whole first season, but I didn't watch any of the second season, which is sad. There was also that A-Rink guy that, I mean, there's just a lot of other shows I've watched half of, but I haven't watched all of, that I didn't want to talk about. But there's just, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of shows I really wanted to finish but didn't get to this season. But be on the lookout if you're watching this live. There is Colorful Stage, Hatsune Miku movie coming out. I think Vinny said you can reserve the tickets now or something like that, right?
Tickets on sale now, and it opens on April 17th.
Mm-hmm. And I saw a lot of posts. I think it's already passed, but there's the 4K or IMAX Mononoke Hime coming to theaters.
It hasn't passed yet,
Oh,
but you do like if you want to go, then you do have to prepare because it is only in like specific theaters that will like have that type of like that can actually like show that type of film because it's under like 4K IMAX, so it's very particular about which theaters will be showing it.
I kind of do wonder if they're going to be showing the dubbed or subbed.
They have both.
But and then if it is the dub, like which version? Do they have a new redubbing of it? Because I know a lot of other shows they've done redubbings.
I don't think they would have redubbed it. I think they're just remastering the quality of the film. That's about it.
We'll have to see. But thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any other announcements out there? Like any other movies or things that might be coming out?
I don't know. I think that's all the ones that I could think about. Would be Princess Mononoke, then the Colorful Stage movie. That's about it. I mean, I think Naja 2 is still showing in some theaters. So if you haven't watched it and like this is probably like your last few chances now to go watch it in the movie theater, which I highly recommend you do, watching in the movie theater.
All right. I do know they had in theaters like a series that was like the first 3 episodes in theaters. I can't remember what it was called, but
Oh, the witch one, right?
yeah.
I forgot what it was called. I know it was something. It was something witch.
But yeah, there's all those fun things. Be sure to check it out. Witch Watch.
Yes, Witch Watch, I think. Maybe.
But yeah, get ready for the new season, which I think is coming up. I think it's this week or next week.
No idea.
I think it starts Tuesday.
Oh, fun. But I can't wait to hear what you all want to watch or thinking of watching. And I guess that's it. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.